right here on VANR. That's VegasAllNetRadio.com, which means it's time for Vegas Unwrapped. The phone lines are open at 702-483-4444. Now, without further ado, here are your hosts, Aaron Phillips and Ricky Cash.
And good evening, everybody in our listening area, which for us is all over the world on the internet, and Buffalo. Wow. You want to bring Cash's mic up? There we go.
Thank you very much.
Buffalo, we love you.
Boxcar.
We love you, Buffalo. I used to travel through Buffalo when I went to school in Erie to come home. 70 inches of snow with 2 more feet of snow potentially tomorrow. 100 inches of snow.
That is their annual snowfall.
Exactly. And the football game between your Jets and the Buffalo Bills may be moved to Monday night to two different locations.
It makes sense.
22.
Maybe they'll play in Niagara Falls.
22,000 tons of snow.
Wow, we don't even get a flurry out here.
No, nor do I want a flurry.
No, we could look up at Mount Charleston and,
absolutely, that's the beauty.
And be very happy with
that. That is the beauty of it. Absolutely, you can go up there, see it from a distance, and I mean, it's just tremendous. Anyway, welcome to the pre-Thanksgiving edition of.
You better make the most of it because we're not going to be on Thanksgiving.
You know what? I looked at the calendar. 3 of the next 6 weeks, the holidays fall out on, and we're going to be playing best ofs. So
possibly New Year's night, though.
Possibly.
I ain't working.
Well, not yet. The first. We'll see. We'll see how much we survive New Year's Eve. But anyway, that's my partner Ricky Cash. He's here. He's sort of in one piece, doing his thing, and we want to thank you for listening, wherever it is that you are, listening to us on your iPad, iPod, VegasAllNetRadio.com, the phone app, wherever it is, you've got us tuned in. We are so thankful you are listening, Mr. Cash. I actually have a good shout out after you're done with yours tonight.
Well, first I'm going to bring up a little bit of an explanation as to what you said about being here but not quite, whatever that was. I'd have to do the playback. I got a little sciatica nerve problem, which is something that all of us have, and as you get older, sometimes it reacts to weather changes. You get pains that run from kind of down your backside, down your leg. Well, actually, the one that I have went all the way down to my ankle. Now I understand the concept of a high ankle sprain because it's above the bone, right? But it goes up about 6-7 inches above that, and it's like swollen. It's like, wow, how did this happen? And it hurts. Anyway, so that's the deal. I'm looking for. I'm taking your advice on tonight. Picked up some icy hots, and I'll throw that on the ankle because I think that'll work. A heating pad would be good on the tush, but let's not get too personal.
No. We're not in the second hour yet.
There's JPEG.
JPEG is here doing his thing behind the camera. How are you, JPEG?
I'm good.
All right, our man is here.
We have a pretty interesting show tonight,
we do. We're
loaded.
We are.
And we can't even go downhill.
No, not really. Not really.
Tonight.
Well, if we go downhill, we have from about 7:50 to 8 o'clock. That's about it. Tonight's show, you're going to need to buckle your seatbelts on because things are going to be a little bit different than usual. The first hour, we have author Karen Ryce who's coming in. Actually, she's on the telephone.
Right.
Yeah, I caught myself.
No, that's okay.
She wrote a book called Parenting for the New Millennium.
Yes, and it's an interesting book. We both had a chance to look at it. I sent one immediately up to my daughter.
Probably hasn't moved from the location she put it down from whence you gave it to her.
Yeah, but good grief, I'm telling you.
Then we also have, coming up in this hour, we have 2 individuals. We have motivational speaker and author Aimmee Kodachian, not to be confused with the Kardashian clan.
Because she doesn't spell it the same way.
No, she does not. She wrote a book called Tears of Hope, which we'll talk to her about, which also they're talking about making into a movie.
Yeah, well, it's a tremendous book because it does touch a lot of people in the sense that it's one of these very important, positive, uplifting books, which there seems to be a slew of them in the marketplace today, and for obvious reasons. I mean, I turn on the news now, and I watch Channel 5, 10 o'clock news, because in the old days I used to be able to stay up till 11, but you know that story. And, I watch it, and the first 6 stories are about murders, hit and runs, stuff like that. I said to myself, my goodness, I'm back in Philadelphia. Because that's the way it was in Philly. The first 6 stories were always fires and murders and killings and all this other stuff. Right. And it's disturbing here because, this, I don't know, people don't take this seriously. All these pedestrians.
It's crazy.
They're getting knocked off like flies.
It's
we kid around when we're driving and we see people walking, not in crosswalks. I'm talking about middle of the street, stuff like that. I almost knocked over one coming down Durango going into our development because he's crossing, not at the crossing there, but halfway between our place and the apartment complex. Right. And he's just walking across, Durango like it's a stroll in the park.
What does that have to do with Aimmee?
Where do we go from Aimmee? Oh, because the motivation. No, the positive stuff. Because there is so much negativity out there.
Yes, there is. Now,
and it's disturbing.
Along with Aimmee is going to be a young lady who is a classically trained inspirational pop singer who we met. Also, we met Aimmee and Stephanie Thompson. She is a singer. She is coming out with she wrote a song based on Aimmee's book called Rise Above. She's going to be releasing a new video this Sunday, which we'll talk about. She's having a release party up at Siena's Italian Authentic Trattoria,
which we know well.
Which we know very well. So they'll be here later on in the first hour here to talk about the song, her music. She's releasing a new Christmas CD.
I had seen her at a Weimer event about a month ago.
A what event?
Weimer.
Okay.
You heard the Weimer, didn't
I
you?
did.
Get the hell out
I was going to get you.
You better stop.
I was going to get you.
Stop right here. I'm in a lot of pain.
Weimer, W-I-M-E-R.
Women in music and...
Women and men in music and arts.
In the ER.
In the ER.
In the ER.
Which is where you better get to for that ankle tomorrow. Don't Aimmee.
I got paid. I got to get paid.
You got to pay your copay. So get your check and go get checked out, will you please?
That's a possibility.
Yes. Otherwise, you're not going with me Saturday night.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
I'll take Cammy because I need a camera person.
Great.
But you'll stay home with your leg up.
Yeah.
Then in the second hour, I'm going to remind the audience or let the audience know that's listening, we signed on with a new representation sort of arrangement with some folks called Old School Sports Management.
Yes.
Folks we've known for a couple of years, and I know that they're listening tonight. I want to look at the second hour with our guests, and I'll announce who our guests are going to be here in a few minutes, almost like a demo. Because it
really is.
It's almost like a mini audition for us because I've been in talks with these people for a number of years. You and I have been talking with them off and on, and huge sports connected people.
This is a possibility, if this goes as well as we would like it, to perhaps open some national doors for radio and television.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Absolutely. So the second hour, although we'll add some questions to our guests that will tie them to Vegas, like what do they like to do when they come here, what's their favorite hotel, that sort of thing.
Stuff we've done before with these people. Remember that 4-hour show?
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
We did 4-hour talk one night with like 90,000 guests, but it was a lot of fun. First, we're going to have Tim Wrightman, who was the tight end on the Chicago Bears' 1985 Super Bowl winning team.
Nice.
He'll be calling in later on.
I'm going to ask him if Jim McMahon was a flake.
I'm sure he'll answer yes, because everybody knows that he was.
Yeah, but up close and personal, a lot of us don't know what he was really like.
Bob Kendrick, who is the president of the Negro League, of course, at the end of this month, there's going to be, with the president, there's going to be some huge recognition to the Negro Leagues, and so we're going to have the president of the Negro League on, Bob Kendricks.
If he would have come a day earlier, because he's coming to Vegas tomorrow, we could have had him on the show tonight.
Who, the president?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if that would have been good for our listener base or not.
I don't know. It couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Go from 7 to 9 or from 7 to 5. Either way.
From 7 to 7:05. Bart Zeller who used to be who still is managing in the independent baseball leagues, who we've had the pleasure of interviewing before.
Yeah, he's a good man.
And then a gentleman by the name of Joe Sperle. He also played in the major leagues, and back in 2012, he developed his own independent league system down in Arizona.
Those independent league systems have been springing up throughout the country, and basically they are for people who haven't hooked on, players who haven't hooked on to
major league roster yet.
not or minor league. In other words, the major league organizations, and are trying to get on. Plus, there are some old timers. I call them old timers because they're the 35 to 40-year-olds who don't want to quit.
Old timer relative to baseball.
Baseball, but they don't want to quit playing.
Right.
They can't. It's in their blood. So that should be interesting. I'm going to ask them a little bit about that as well.
Okay, so that's going to, and then by that, we're going to try to squeeze in doing it with Styles somewhere in between there as well.
Good luck to that.
That'll be probably just before the top of the first hour, but we'll get it in there because everybody loves doing it with Styles. So
it's
we can't not do it.
It's got a lot of great reviews so far.
Absolutely. And then by that point, it'll be just about time to wrap up the show. And before we know it, we'll be out of here for Thanksgiving holiday. So, all right. Shout-outs real quickly.
Couple of shout-outs. Lois and Mike are in. Listen to this. Lois and Mike are in New York this week, in Queens, in to visit Michael's mom. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I have to look this up, I believe she's 99.
God bless.
Or somewhere in that area, and they're going to be listening tonight. I told Lois to make sure Mike listens in the second hour because I know he'd be interested in hearing some of these sports interviews.
Okay.
So that'll be pretty good. Cammie's at home. I think she's on listening. And hey, I have to throw this out before the first break. How about us almost hitting television this morning, but definitely next Thursday?
We'll talk about that. Yeah, the Sammy Castell and Friends TV show debuted this morning on My LV TV locally, and some other networks. If you go to the Vegas Unwrapped fan page, I reposted Sammy's posting from yesterday showing what channels, day, and times the show airs, and it was their Thanksgiving special where Chef Michael presented about 4 or 5 different dishes, and
he lost me with the mustard. You know that.
He lost me with anything added in vegetable.
It was a fun show.
It was very good, and then hopefully, if all goes well on next week's show, then we should be making our debut with what we did
next Thursday. I wonder if there will be a show Thanksgiving morning.
I don't know.
We'll have to check on that.
I don't know.
But if not, it's repeated like 12 times over the weekend.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be on because we got to go up against the Thanksgiving Day parade. So
it's pretty early. Would it be on 7:30? Yeah, the parade comes from back east to Macy's.
Well, unless they do tape delay, which they usually do.
Okay, fair
enough. It. So, all right, real quickly before we go to a break, I got to share a shout out that I have because it's pretty critical. I promised I would do this. I think it was last Friday. Robin and I went out for bite to eat at one of our favorite seafood restaurants right there on Rainbow and Lake Mead. Joe's Crab Shack.
Oh yeah, good old Joe.
And when we go out,
I haven't been there in a while.
When we go out for dinner, I love the interaction with those who wait on you. I think that's part of the experience when you go into a restaurant.
And they're very good with that.
Some of them are. Some, for the most part, they are there. But I've gone to restaurants where, this desktop has more personality than some of the servers, and I hate that. So anyway, we had this server who waited on us. Her name was Michelle. She was, on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 15. She was just wonderful. Just joked with us and laughed with us. I mean, she came back more times to make sure that our food was the way we wanted it than I'd ever seen anybody else. So you know me, when I love service, I love to recognize, and I just happened to have had a couple of show tickets sitting in my car. So I asked the general manager. The general manager came over. We shared our comments with him, and I asked him if it was okay that I give her something as a thank you. And I had 2 of the Beatles tickets sitting in my car.
Good job.
So I think Robin posted the picture of me standing with Michelle on my Facebook page, Aaron Phillips, and I gave her 2 tickets and I thanked her. So go see Michelle at the Joe's Crab Shack on Rainbow and Lake Mead if you want not just good service, great service from somebody who knows how to be personally connected with their guests. Michelle is the right person to do so. So go down there and tell them that Vegas Unwrapped sent you. So definitely want to thank her for providing a good experience and coupled with that, as those who know from Joe's Crab Shack, when they dance to their song, this was the most interactive group of servers that danced. They actually had people from within the restaurant get up and join them dancing.
Nice.
I mean, it was just one of those wow moments where you actually realize that they were getting everybody engaged. So, anyway, wanted to share that. Thank you again, Michelle. Thank you, Joe's Crab Shack, Lake Mead Rainbow, and I'll sell you the bill for the plug. Anyway, with that, it's 1:15 already. We got to go to our first break because we're expecting our first guest, Karen Ryce, to be calling in.
Any second now.
Any second now. She's the author of Parenting for the New Millennium. Of course, I'm going to ask Bobcat to take us to break because I didn't bring him in time. So, Bobcat, good to see you, my friend. Take us to break.
How you doing, my friend? We'll get you quick score updates in the second hour. You're listening to Vegas Unwrapped with Phillips Cash. Jake Peg, yours truly, the Bobcat right here. Real quickly, 14-3, Oakland up on top of Kansas City right now, okay?
Wow.
And for you college football fans out there, Duke's been on a tear, but tonight no tear for Duke because NC is just romping on them 38-7. And finally, Kansas State on top of West Virginia 23-10. That's what's happening. And finally, the biggest, baddest dog in the park. It's Kevin Harvick, your 2014 NASCAR Sprint Cup champion. More with Phillips and Cash right after this, everybody.
Welcome back to Vegas Unwrapped. Aaron Phillips, Ricky Cash. Bobcat on the board, JPEG on the camera. And on the phone with us right now is author Karen Ryce of a book called Parenting for the New Millennium. Karen, welcome to Vegas Unwrapped. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Karen, you sound like you're coming in high-def quality.
Oh, great. Great.
So tell us about your book, your inspiration behind it. Let's give us a little feel for what you got in print there.
Okay. Well, the book was written quite a long time ago, published in 1996. The inspiration was I felt that as a Montessori teacher and a parent that I had learned some things about relating to children in ways that seemed to work really well for them and for me that I didn't see other people using. And so I thought about this for a long time, trying to figure out a way, because once I first discovered it, I started sharing it with people, and people were shocked at the things that I was saying. And so I kind of pulled back and tried to figure out a way that I could share the information in a way that people could welcome it and give it a try. And during this whole process, I got invited to India to start educational centers for a community service organization. And as I was thinking about this invitation, I realized that I would not feel comfortable leaving where I was without sharing with the people there what I'd learned.
Karen,
oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's what... Okay, so I just started writing it down, and then it turned into this book, and it turned into a mission, and so it goes.
Karen, give us a couple of examples of what you were doing that you saw was not happening in the homes that you were talking about. Give us a couple of examples.
Okay, I discovered one day at Children's House, that was the name of the Montessori school we started, I discovered that respect was a very powerful approach with the children. Because I was finding my way in all of this too, anyway, so one day there was a child who came, and she was very upset, and for some reason I was just like super courteous to her, and she completely turned around and felt she got happy. And so I started using this more and more, and I found so much positive, so many positive situations. I feel like it was bringing out the best in the children.
By respect, you mean something like listening to what they had to say, as opposed to immediately doing your parent thing, like I'm the parent and you're the child and you have to listen to what I say?
That's definitely part of it. Yes. And over the years, I've come to see that what it is basically is finding what works for me and for the child or children that I'm interacting with. Something that they agree to and I agree to. We can't have either one of us left out, or it's not what I've termed the power of respect.
Gotcha. So at this point in time, your book, the new book, has been out how long? Because you revised it, right?
Okay, yes, I did revise it. Now, the one that you've seen is not the revised version.
Oh, okay.
That's the original version.
Wow, I read most of it and it was pretty powerful then.
I know. I just read through it again myself, and I thought, whoa, I really like this. I mean, there are a few little things that I might say differently, but I did a complete revision on the book a few years ago, and I focused it entirely on what I want to teach people about, what to do, and left out a lot of things about what's wrong. So I didn't really paint a what's wrong picture, just little bits here and there, but mostly I painted if you want things to go well with your children and your family, or anybody that's really relating to children, this is what you do, and this is why you do it.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you taken it to the schools, parent teachers associations, parent groups? I mean, are you having a chance to express this to the people that need to hear it the most?
Well, I did do that a long time ago, but I have not done that recently.
All right, well, then that begs the question, where are you going from here with this?
Well, what you've just suggested sounds like a really good path.
Okay, well, I'm glad I helped in that, right, Aaron?
We want 10% of the next book.
Okay. We will make a deal.
Karen, where can people get the book that currently is out there now?
Oh, yeah. I set up a holiday special, 25% off, and you can get it on my website, and you go to happykidsco.com/book. And there you can purchase the book for 25% off, which would be $15. Plus, there's a $6 shipping and handling.
Well, certainly if anybody missed the website live, they'll be able to play it back here on the podcast, as well as the YouTube video. And what would you say is probably the one, in closing, what would be one of the biggest tips out of your book that you can give to parenting today?
I would say whatever you do, whatever you decide, whatever situation comes up between you and your child, make sure that they are happy with it and you are happy with it.
Wow, that's a tall order, especially with teenagers.
Seems like it, but once you get into it, it makes everything so much easier. It's amazing. So much stress gets dissipated, both for the child and the parent. So many wonderings that a parent has about what to do and all of that, it works so much better, so much easier. It just relaxes everything.
Well, it's certainly good advice. I would hope that many parents would take a look at that. You know, most of the parenting that is done today basically is because of what they were taught when they were
growing up.
Yeah, you know, and some of those habits, especially back in the generation before this one, 2 generations ago, you know, in a lot of families, it was very, very strict. It was very, very parent-oriented as opposed to children-oriented. And, that had, there are arguments on both sides that was plus, as well as, you can find the negativity in that as well. Anyway, it's so interesting. Karen, we really are rushed for time. I'd love to have you come back in, talk about this in depth, perhaps after the first of the year when things calm down a little bit around here. Love to have you in studio and give you another segment, because this is fascinating stuff, especially with what's going on in the world today with raising children. Probably, I think, more difficult today than ever before. Wouldn't you agree?
Probably, yes. Probably lots of tensions pulling in all directions.
Well, again, I want to thank you. Aaron and I both have copies of the book, and we have passed it along. I know I have to my daughter, and
I'll hold mine till mine become parents.
There you go. And thanks so much again for calling in tonight. We appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks for having me, and we'll talk again.
Thank you, Karen.
We certainly will. That's Karen Ryce, and
author of Parenting for the New Millennium.
Wow, and I'll tell you what, it's powerful stuff.
Absolutely.
You may disagree with some of it too.
Well, all right.
But that's okay, because she has a particular thought process here about bringing the children into a situation with giving them more respect.
Right.
I can buy into that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Real quickly before we go to break, the Raiders are up 17-3 with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Wow, they're going to shock the world.
And it looks like it's official. Bills and Jets, we played Monday night in Detroit.
In Detroit?
Yep.
Wow.
Indoors.
How about that? I wonder if that'll change the line significantly.
Who knows? Who knows? All right, we're going to step aside for a break. Aimmee Kodachian, jeez, and Stephanie Thompson will be joining us on the other side. Vegas Unwrapped. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Yeah, welcome back. As I get the headsets on, we're getting our guests settled.
I don't think you really need it.
Well, she may want to hear her song, though.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah, let's see if we can unwrap. Unwrap. You like to unwrap?
That's Vegas Unwrapped for you.
That's a cheap plug for the show right there.
I give her mine.
That's all right. We got an extra one here. You're listening to Vegas Unwrapped with Aaron Phillips, Ricky Cash, Bobcat on the board, JPEG behind the camera, and
we have two special
guests. Cash, why don't you...
No. You were doing so well.
I was, wasn't I?
Yes.
Let's see. See if that's plugged in for you, working. I think we're working on the same volume, so I don't want to blast you out.
All right, we have author Aimmee Kodachian,
all right?
Yes.
And she has a very, very inspirational book, which we'll let her tell you about. And we have Stephanie Thompson, who is a wonderful, wonderful singer.
Yeah, I have their formal bios, so I'll simply share this real quickly with everybody. So
yeah, why don't we do that?
Aimmee is the founder of Empowering Souls International Community. She is a transformational speaker, business and life coach, and the author of her biography, Tears of Hope, Her True Life story of a Middle Eastern Christian girl growing up in the 1975 Lebanese Civil War. Aimmee was faced with enormous obstacles and many challenges, and due to her severe dyslexia and the war, she was forced to leave school at the 4th grade. That was only the beginning of her long and harsh journey. Her book has earned 5 stars on Amazon.com and is giving people hope and helping them see their life from a different perspective. Today, Aimmee is working closely with director Stephen Rush on turning Tears of Hope into a movie. Aimmee is paying it forward by giving back 100% of the profit of her book to build and support the ESI community, helping humanity see light through darkness. And Stephanie's background, I'll tell you what, this is some good stuff here too. Stephanie's a classically trained inspirational and pop singer. She's also a vocal coach for children and adults. Now, Stephanie co-wrote the song Rise Above with author and speaker Aimmee. That is based on Aimmee's book Tears of Hope, and it promotes having peace in the world. In addition, Stephanie is continually writing and recording new songs that inspire and touch the soul. Stephanie is a member of Actors Equity and the Screen Actors Guild. Recently, Stephanie has written and recorded a Christmas song. She's going to release a music video of that song this Sunday, November 23rd, and we'll get into the details about that. That's taking place up at the Siena Italian Authentic Trattoria.
You finally got that right.
All those were there. Ladies, welcome to Vegas Unwrapped. I'm going to let the world know that you and I have been connected, Aimmee, on Facebook for quite some time, and I just connected with Stephanie after we met yesterday. Yeah. But we met on the Sandy Castell show yesterday, and because of Cash's efforts to get you guys to come on tonight, we want to help promote for you for Sunday.
Thank you
and
so
your
much.
great music. We were just so enthralled hearing the music and the second song that we played yesterday, and I know we're not going to play that tonight. We're going to play
the country sounding song.
But you have that country style
yes,
throughout all your music. I noticed that even in the Christmas song, that you kind of had that Christmas, that country inspiration in there.
Yes.
Have you been told that before about your music?
Yes, Aimmee says that all the time. She says, you could be a country singer, Stephanie. And I always thought, me? I never saw myself as country, but...
Yeah, she have a natural country, I think. That's right.
I picked that up right away yesterday hearing the second song.
Yeah.
Well, when I first heard Stephanie sing at the Wee Ma event about a couple of months ago, I said to myself, wow, this gal should be on Vegas Unwrapped. And of course, you know me, I don't write stuff down. Yeah. And then, of course, when you guys showed up on the Sandy show on the week that we're there on a Wednesday, that made it perfect to have you here tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. Yes, thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about your book. We're going to kind of backpedal, talk about your book and your story and how that inspired the song from Stephanie that you guys wrote together. So talk about your book.
Well, my book, it's about my journey living in 1975 Lebanese Civil War. I grew up, I was 12 years old when the first bomb came to our house and killed my brother right in front of my eyes. Ooh. And after that, we became homeless, and it was just the beginning of a harsh journey after that. Of course, for 13 years, I have lived through war, escaped death. I had to get married at 14, 3 days after my 14th birthday, because Mom, she was on medication, and we didn't have really any money or anything. And it was too late for me to go back to school. As we mentioned, I have dyslexia. So I had no hope to have any opportunity. So I had to get married at 14, had a baby at 15.
Wow.
When I had my baby, I had to run to the hospital. From hospital to hospital, I was kicked out because they wouldn't take me in. They were like, you're not priority. We have people coming in injured and no legs, no hands or whatever. So go back home and have the baby. And I was 15 years old.
Sure.
So, running with the bombs on the street when I'm running to the hospitals and looking for hospital. But then I had my baby, and 2.5 years later, my husband left the country and came to the United States. That's another long story.
That'll be in the sequel.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was a single mom, but still teenager, living in the war, coming back to my family where they couldn't take care of me in the first place, and I had to raise my baby. So when 13 years later, I get the opportunity to come to the United States, and no one wanted me here. Now everybody says, you don't speak the language, you don't have money, you don't have education, you don't have any skills. Well, you're enjoying the electricity, the water, and everything, but those needs to be paid.
Wow.
And how are you going to do that? How are you going to raise your daughter and stay here? Somehow, somewhere, I used all the tools that I used to survive in the war towards staying in this country and make it with only fourth grade education. Then a couple of years later, I became a businesswoman, and then I said, okay, time for me to share the insights, wisdoms, and what kept me going and still happy and smiling.
Wow. Tremendous.
It's an incredible story. I mean, just the war part itself is enough to raise the hairs on the arm, and then to be able to come here with virtually nothing and to be able to take it from where you were to where you are today. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's a miracle.
And that's how I felt. I felt when I was driving down on the freeway in 2005, driving a brand new car, coming from a business meeting that went so well. I'm like, this is unbelievable. If I can make it, anybody can. Literally anybody can. And it was like a different person. I'm looking at myself and I'm not believing myself that I'm here. I felt compelled. I felt like a voice came to me that I have to share. I have to inspire. I have to tell people, if you're waiting in line in the grocery store, don't panic about it. We had to wait in line just to get a bread. We had to wait in line just to get a water that we could have at night. We had to wait. We had to stay weeks at a time with no electricity, with no water, with no money, with no nothing.
Kind of gives you a different perspective on life.
Yeah, and then I cannot judge people, who would live here, because I live here now, too. But sometimes we forget about the what we have.
Right.
And I felt it's time for me to share all this stuff, because we don't hear about the stuff on the news. All we hear is the bomb and everything, but there is no one really from inside. People who lived with nothing wrote a book about something like that, and how really I overcome it, and what did I do, what did I do to really survive.
Sure.
So I felt this is something I need to pay it forward now.
Aimmee,
I took that step.
how did you meet Stephanie?
She will tell you about that.
Hi, Stephanie. How did you meet Aimmee?
Well, I met Aimmee in October of 2011. I came to one of her seminars. She was doing, she called it the Life Transformation Seminar at that time. And I had been recommended by a friend to go there, and I didn't really want to go there. I kind of showed up, and I was kind of sitting slumped in my seat. I just wasn't excited about being there, but I felt obligated for some reason. For some reason, something told me I had to go there, so I went. And about 5 minutes into the seminar, Aimmee asked me a question. She asked the room a question. She said, "Where do you live? Or where do you want to live?" And I said, "Well, I want to live in joy." And she said, "You live in worry." And she just nailed me.
That really opened your eyes, didn't it?
She just nailed me.
I felt her. I felt exactly what she was feeling at that moment.
Yeah, she had such incredible insight, and she has such incredible insight into people. And throughout the day, I just got more and more revelations. And I read her book, and I was so inspired. And I said, I need this lady in my life. So I asked her to start coaching me, and just a beautiful journey has come from that. And 3 years later now, we are still I am the student and she is the mentor, and I have never been more blessed in my entire life as to be under her guidance and direction.
That's quite a story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So talk about the song that you guys co-wrote based on the book. Talk about that.
How that happened?
Well, I think Aimmee, you should start, because it kind of started with Aimmee.
Yeah. So actually, I could take you exactly where I was in the kitchen. Again, another message came to me when I wrote the book. I felt the same feeling that I have something I needed to do, and then a message came to me, and I felt I needed to write this song about peace in the world through that 12 years old girl who her life was saved because my brother, he's supposed to be in the kitchen and I'm supposed to be in that room. So I'm supposed to be dead, not him. And for me to live and be in the United States, it's not coincident. And I felt the message came to me that the story, the book, and the song should not be about Aimmee today. It should be about that girl and her story, the message to have peace in the world. So I called Stephanie and I said, okay, that's how I feel. What I need to do, I just picked up the phone, I called her, I said, I need you to come over right now. So she came over, we said, I said, have a paper, pen, paper, whatever, and then she started to take notes, and she had the experience of music. I don't have an experience of music, so I asked her to help me with that, and then she wrote a lot of notes and everything, like words from here, words, and then she went home and she said, I got it. And then she shared with me what she put together, and from there we took it to the next level. We had a video made, recording it. We went through months of work together to bring it to life, and also 100% of that profit will go towards helping people who was injured in a war and have peace in the world. So it's all about the message, helping people see light through darkness. So that's the journey of that song.
The book is still available on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. It's on my website.
Okay, which is?
reachingyourlight.com. Like you're reaching for your light. LIGHT. If you buy it from my website, more of the money will go towards, because I have a publisher. He wouldn't like me to hear that. But that's
Too bad. Too bad. You're on the internet.
That's right. That's right.
Well, no matter what you do, that's what I'm doing with it.
Okay.
I'm turning it into helping people.
Great.
Paying it forward.
Stephanie, talk about what's happening Sunday.
So this Sunday, we are having a celebration, an early Christmas party at Siena Italian Authentic Trattoria. And it's going to be a celebration of the release of my Christmas music video. And I'm going to be singing some songs, and we're going to be having it's complimentary. So all you have to do is show up. We're going to have some food and some drinks and just have a wonderful time. So...
Did I hear food? Did I hear complimentary?
That's right. That's right.
Well,
That's right.
appetizers, but there's
Well, of course.
plenty.
What time on Sunday?
It's going to be from 5:30 to 8, and the address is 9500 West Sahara Avenue. It's between Fort Apache and Wallapai on Sahara.
It's kind of next door to the IHOP.
Yes.
Village Square Shopping Centers, where
Yes.
Yeah, in the
Village
village.
Square.
Yes,
We
yeah,
know it
Village
very
Square.
well.
Kind of
guess
right at
what?
the end. Yes.
I am in her video too.
Oh, okay.
She's
dancing?
she's in my music video with her grandchildren.
And with my grandkids.
And
in the
Aimmee
video.
is hosting the event.
Yes,
So
okay.
she's going to be the MC, if you will.
Cool.
Yes.
Sounds
nice.
good. And
It's gonna be fun.
in the agendaed time, is there a specific time when you're going to actually run the video to show? Is it going to be towards the end of the evening, or?
Beginning, probably.
Probably toward the beginning
Okay.
of the event.
Between
Yeah.
Very good.
5:30 and 6
Okay.
probably.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your holiday CD. What's the title of the CD?
The CD is called, the CD is called Lay Your Hands on Me. And
Okay.
it's actually a compilation of it's some inspirational songs that I've written, and then the Christmas song.
Okay. And where can folks get? I know you're going to be offering the CD for purchase.
Yes.
On Sunday at Siena's. Is there
Yes.
any other location that folks can get the CD at this time?
You can go to iTunes, and you can also go to my website, www.stephaniethompsonint.com, and you can download it from there.
Okay, sounds good. And I believe we have a cut from that CD all queued up. Why don't you tell us what we're going to listen to?
You're going to listen to the piece of the Christmas song, The Blessing of Christmas, and this is the music video as well.
Here you go.
What is it about Christmas that inspires? Is it cups of sweet hot cocoa or the long nights by the fire? The gorgeous colored patterns packages under decorated trees. And the colored lights and pretty bows are beautiful to see. Are the silver bells and Santa Claus why Christmas is so dear? No, there's something more that makes the season bright when it appears. It's the love that you feel in the air. It's the difference in our attitudes. It's the joy when people care. It's the meeting of good friends and the stories told of old. It's the baby in the manger and the magic that unfolds. That miracle of life that as we give we do receive. And the hope of all the children as they once again believe. It's the blessing of Christmas. What is it about Christmas time that changes people's hearts? Is it horse-drawn sleighs and shopping days and fancy modern marts? Is it traveling to exotic places to leave it all behind? Or is there something in this season we have yet to find? Is it all the tasty foods we eat that make a difference too? Or is there something bigger that's in store for me and you? It's the love that you feel in the air. It's the difference in our attitudes. It's the joy when people care. It's the meeting of good friends and the stories told of old. It's the baby in the manger and the magic that unfolds. That miracle of life that as we give we do receive. And the hope of all the children as they once again believe. It's the blessing of Christmas. It's the blessing of Christmas. It's the blessing of Christmas time.
All right, Stephanie Thompson, what a beautiful, beautiful note.
That is amazing. It's funny because, and we talked about this coming in tonight. Aaron and I both of the Jewish faith, and we think the best part of Christmas is all the Christmas songs because they're so good. And this one is especially nice because it has that
feeling.
It has that feeling,
that warmth, the warmth of the feeling of the holiday,
and the holiday feeling,
right,
which is what we all hope to achieve every year.
Absolutely.
I just wish it wouldn't last so short a time.
Yeah.
It seems to be getting longer though every year. So soon we'll be listening to Christmas music and holiday music for 12 months out of the year. Listen, guys, thank you so much for stopping in. We know it was a last-minute arrangement after seeing you guys yesterday. Sienna Italian Authentic Trattoria, 9500 West Sahara, the corner of West Sahara and Fort Apache, this Sunday, 5 till 9?
5:30.
5:30 to 8.
That's what I said, 5:30 to 8. Right. What did I say?
There you go.
There'll be complimentary food there, little finger foods, but more importantly, support Stephanie and Aimmee on their journey with the CD and buy the CD. How much is the CD going to be available for?
It's $10.
$10. I mean, you can't get a better deal. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
Right.
John's reaching into his. Watch out for the moths that are flying out as he reaches in there. Get over there, and also the book. Tears for Hope?
I will have it, Tears of Hope.
Tears of Hope, sorry.
Yeah, we will have it there too.
You're going to have the book there too?
Yeah.
Okay, so go down, pick up the music, pick up the book as well. Thank you so much for stopping in, and I'd love to do it again. Kill the music. I'm going to go to the top of the hour because I'm going to try to squeeze in doing it with Styles before we go to the top. So is that all right if we get you in there now? Okay. I tried getting Queen's Vault to listen, but she's in the process of working with a student right now, so she'll have to pick it up on podcast. So, Cash, why don't you swing that microphone over to JPEG there? See, we do a segment with John where he presents an award to people who do great things in the community.
Nice.
So stick around and listen before we let you go. And all right, so let's see. Can you cue up John there?
I certainly can.
All right. I'm sorry to catch you off guard there.
All right, I got it.
Ran over a few
Thank you
minutes.
for having us.
It's time for Doing It with Style. Sponsored in part by AA Casaro Plumbing and Construction.
right, John, take it away, boss.
Hello. And here we are, another week of Doing It with Styles Award. This week, basically, I'm going back to the guests that we had on the show last week. And I know
The Queens.
The Queen Vault.
The beauties.
And the work that they do with pageants, and I just, our first reaction is, oh, beauty pageants, oh, that's cool. But after talking with Katie, wasn't it?
Yes.
And Kelly, and so
And Sada E.
I was impressed at the depth which these girls really work hard, and not just to be a flash, but to help the community and get sponsors and actually give back to the community just like you guys do. So this week we're giving the Doing It with Styles Award to the Queen's Vault.
Yay!
And for the work that they do in helping young women and empowering them into coming into their own. And I was impressed with a couple of the young ladies that they had on once before, how they really opened up and grew as human beings and women. And if I had a chance to talk to you earlier, you would be getting the award tonight.
Oh.
For your story and what you've gone through and what you give back and the what you've
You're gonna
experienced.
Make me tear now.
No,
There's always the
I
first
never
show in December,
expected
John.
That's right. So, but anyway, yeah, like I said, I saw you on Sandy, and tonight we had a little more of a chance to hear
to know
your
the
real story. So I'm impressed.
Absolutely.
And thank you for sharing it. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I'm done.
All right, thank you, John. Play the out on that.
Thank you.
I think
Thank you for listening to Doing It with Style. Sponsored in part by AA Casaro Plumbing and Construction and heard exclusively on Vegas Unwrapped.
I want to echo John, because I think we're all impressed. We've been very fortunate on Vegas Unwrapped to have some of the most amazing guests, people that are in of themselves the type of people that you'd want to emulate, and they are inspirations, and you ladies tonight certainly have fit into that category. Thank you from all of us.
Absolutely.
Can I have 10 seconds?
Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot a really important shout out.
Okay.
As you all know, about a month ago, we started having a young lady named Stella from Down Under call into the show. Mm-hmm. She's one of our biggest fans. She listens to us, and she has had some physical problems, has lost her voice, has some a throat infection, and we just want to give her a shout out and tell her we know you're listening, and we hope that you're feeling better, and hope to hear you again soon.
Should we give her a real Stella shout out?
With that, as Bobcat falls out of his...
I know. Sorry, I stands up on that. All right, we're going to go to the top of the hour break. Coming up on the other side, our first guest, Tim Wrightman, former tight end of the Chicago Bears of the 1985 Super Bowl team. You're listening to Vegas Unwrapped, Phillips and Cash. Bobcat on the board, JPEG behind the camera. You, the listener, of course, Aimmee and Stephanie, thank you again for stopping in. Wish we had more time, but we will make more time next time, I promise you. Don't go anywhere, more fun. Hour number 2 right after this. All right, welcome back to Vegas Unwrapped. Aaron Phillips, Ricky Cash, Bobcat on the board, JPEG behind the camera, and you, the listener. Want to thank you for tuning in. We're waiting for our first guest. Is Aimmee potted in there? Maybe we'll bring Aimmee in for a minute or two. Well, guess not. Okay. So we're waiting for our first guest to call in. But, you know, let's talk about what we were just talking about on the air. I mean, that story with Aimmee and how she was a 12, 13-year-old kid.
Seeing her brother
die right
in a bomb.
In a bomb. Hope Ahmed wasn't there.
That was some civil war. You know, that was a civil war, basically, between the well, I don't want to get into it, but
no, we don't need history lessons.
No, you don't.
not on this show.
No, but it was a very, and again, it was a religious struggle.
Absolutely.
There, and unfortunately,
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll see if our first guest is here on the line. I think I'm going to do the pre-intro. We might as well let everybody know who our first guest is.
This is Vegas.
Dead air.
I know. I'm just trying to give Bobcat a chance to screen the phone. And who do we have?
We have Tim.
All right. It is now time to welcome our first guest to the show, Mr. Cash. We both love football. We both were really ingratiated to the NFL, mostly in the 80s.
You bet.
When the Chicago Bears were just annihilating everybody in the NFC. Please welcome to our show, former tight end of the Super Bowl winning Chicago Bears of 1985, Mr. Tim Wrightman. How are you, sir? Aaron Phillips, Ricky Cash.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Thank you for having me on.
Oh, thank you for joining us tonight. What a great pleasure. I've never spoken to a Super Bowl champion, so for me, this is terrific.
And him being a Giant fan, he's had some opportunities, but he's let them slip through his hands.
Yeah. Sean Lendetta's whiff in the end zone is probably the biggest one that I remember.
Yeah, exactly. And Sean Gale holds the record for the shortest punt return for a touchdown in NFL history after that.
That's right. It was like 1 yard, wasn't it?
Yeah, 1 or 2 yards.
Oh, my God.
That's incredible.
I mean, that day, the wind must have been blowing, about 50 miles an hour, and temperatures were
It was not blowing at all. That's the interesting thing.
Because it looked like the ball shifted as he released it before he kicked it.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't really windy that day, as if I remember. The thing I can remember about that day is Lawrence Taylor doing a lot of smack talk.
Lawrence Taylor doing smack talk? There's a surprise for you.
What a rarity, right?
My goodness gracious. My goodness.
Tim, this is Ricky. I'm a big fan of football, and one of the things that was so impressive, and it still is to this day, and obviously the '85 Bears defense got much, much more of the accolades than the offense. Tell us a little bit about how those two units got along in the clubhouse.
Well, it was interesting that, playing on offense, the game was quite easy because my teammates on the other side were, the best defense in the NFL. So going through practice all week, having to practice against those guys kind of made the games quite easy. And I know the defense got a lot of accolades that year, and they deserved them. But if you look at our offense that year, we held the ball. We held the ball more than any team. We had the time of possession, the highest in the NFL, and we led the league in rushing. So, they only had to be, I tell the defense, they only had to be on there for 25, minutes a game. You better be able to play hard for only 25 minutes.
Sure.
Spoken like a true offensive player, right?
Yeah.
Tim, I want to, again, I've been thinking about this all day knowing that you were going to come on. So many stories over the years about Jim McMahon, both on and off the field. The famous headbands and the wristbands and everything that, he did at that time was contrary to the image that the NFL wanted to put out. What was it like being a teammate of his? And can you just share one crazy story about us from him?
Yeah, sure. Jim, I've known Jim quite a long time. We played together in the Hula Bowl as seniors in college, and we're on a lot of All-American teams together. He was the first pick of the Bears in '82. I was the second pick that year, so we roomed together in many camps. And Jim is a great competitor, an awesome teammate, a really good guy. He just didn't care about the press. He didn't care about the media. All he cared about was his teammates respected him and knew that he'd play hard. And the thing that I really enjoyed about Jim was his relationship with Ditka. And I think Jim was the only quarterback that could really thrive under Ditka because Jim had such thick skin, and he really didn't care. And, I mean, there were times when, there would be Jim was a really smart player, and standing right next to Coach Ditka on the sidelines, Jim would start to audibilize a play, and Mike would say, Ditka would say, "No, Jim, darn it, Jim, don't change my play. Don't change my play. Whatever you do, don't change my great throw." It was just that kind of stuff, and the things too about when mistakes were made and tempers would rise and that sort of thing, and it was just it was like they were kind of like a married couple. They'd yell and scream at each other, but they were really good for each other, and under them we did rather well. And the the team after that year in 1986, they forget that, even though, we didn't make it as far as the Super Bowl, we still went 14-2 the next year. So we had a really good season and a really good team the following year. But Jim got slammed by a Green Bay Packer and, blew his shoulder out. And that's what kept us, I think, from going back and repeating as Super Bowl champions the following year.
And, of course, those defenses were run by at the time, the Wizard of Defense, Buddy Ryan, right?
That's true.
Right. Well, the Super Bowl year was Buddy Ryan, and then Vince Tobin came in.
Right.
Mike didn't really like the 46 defense. He thought that it was a risky defense, and we went to a more conventional defense the following year, and we were kind of a bend but don't break defense. Where Buddy Ryan in the Super Bowl year was being super aggressive, putting a lot of pressure on on your cornerbacks to cover guys one-on-one and get to the quarterback before he can get rid of the ball. The only game that we lost was against the Dolphins, and I think one of the reasons we lost that game is because we couldn't get to Dan Marino. His release was so quick that we couldn't get to him that game.
Yeah, so 3-step drops and quick releases are tough to get sacks on, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So do you keep in touch with anybody from the team?
Oh, fortunately, being on that Super Bowl team, we do get together quite a bit in different functions in Chicago, and the Bears always have an alumni game and weekend that they invite everybody back. And, being part of that team, I probably get together seeing more of my former teammates than if you were just, on a regular team. And, but, on a day-to-day basis, probably I don't really stay in touch with those guys very much. I talk to McMahon every once in a while, and I'm kind of friendly with Tom Thayer, who was an offensive guard at the time, and that sort of thing.
So one of the last questions I have for you with that Super Bowl, do you still wear the ring?
Absolutely. Okay. I don't wear it out when I'm on my ranch or anything, but when I travel, and this weekend I'll wear it because I'm going to go to the first USC-UCLA game that I've been to since I played.
Right. That's right, this weekend.
It was great that Oregon State did us a favor and beat Arizona State, so they're still playing for something.
Something meaningful.
UCLA, they went out the rest of they beat SC, and then they go on and beat Stanford. They control their own destiny, and then we can lose again to Oregon.
Very nice.
He's got it all mapped out for us.
So, Tim, real quick, Tim, what are you doing these days?
I have a shooting preserve in Idaho, and I have clients that come out, and I guide them, and we go pheasant hunting. And I have a lodge, and guys spend the night and or a weekend or however long they want to stay, and we go out and we hunt pheasant.
And you cook them?
Well, I have everybody cooks them, but I can't do everything. I help them find them and that sort of thing. But
there you go.
A little birdie told me that's the Lazy Bear Ranch.
The Lazy Bear Ranch, that's right. I was a UCLA Bruin, which is a bear, and then a Chicago Bear, and I'm a Lazy Bear.
There you go. LazyBearRanch.com is the website. All the information is there. I actually have it pulled up in front of me. Now, you're also in Idaho as well, correct?
It is.
Yes, I'm about an hour northwest of Boise.
Gotcha. So now you usually get a pretty wintry, snowy winter. What kind of advice do you have to give the folks that are buried until July up in Buffalo?
I growing up in Southern California, and then going and playing for the Bears, and they used to call me the Michelin Man because I'd wear a big, coat underneath my shoulder pads, and I could barely move. But I got acclimated to it, and the weather's not too bad up here. We get a lot of snow in the mountains, but down where I am, I'm only about 2,100 feet, so not as nice as Las Vegas where you guys are, but it's not as bad. And the snow's dry up here, as you know. It's kind of a dry snow.
It's like the heat. It's like the heat in Vegas.
Yeah, dry heat.
Yeah.
Now,
the dry heat. Yeah, we have the dry snow.
Do you come to Vegas at all?
I do. Yeah, I was there for the Kentucky Derby weekend. Went down, met a couple buddies actually from Chicago, and went down and did a little gambling on the Kentucky Derby.
What's your favorite casino in Vegas?
Oh, we stayed typically at the Mirage.
The one he wins at.
I was just going to say, the one that pays him back. So you like the Mirage. You like to be center strip then?
Yeah, and then sometimes we'll stay down at South Point. One of my buddies actually was partners with the guy. Is it Michael Gaunt?
Yeah, Michael Gaunt.
Michael Gaunt.
Right.
Michael Gaunt. He was a partner with him at a riverboat casino in St. Louis. So we stayed down at South Point a couple of times too, and like the sports book down there.
Well, if you ever get back in town, we'd love to have you in studio. We would. We really enjoy talking more about the Bears and more about what you're doing.
I'm glad we didn't talk about the Bears this year because
No.
We respect our guests. We wouldn't do that to them. Wait a minute.
Actually, to do with this year's Bears, but you still like to see your former team do well and that sort of thing. But it's been a tough road this year.
No. So now that you brought it up, what's going to happen with them the rest of the year? What do you think? I mean, is Cutler the guy for the future? Are they going to straighten the boat out? Is Tressman going to be the guy for the rest of the year? Give us your prognosis.
Well, I mean, I'm just one opinion, and I don't know the inside scoop on any of this stuff. I know what I read, and that's about all I know. But I've never been a fan of Cutler, so I just it's. I guess I'm old school, and you like a fiery quarterback that at least looks like or pretends like he cares, and I just don't see that. That you don't have to have fire in your eyes all the time to compete, but when a guy has 3 or 4 turnovers, you like to see him be a little upset about it.
Sure.
And I don't know. I don't know that much about Coach Tressman, and I'm sure he does a good job. And they did the people who hired him, that sort of thing. But I don't know. I personally would like to see them go back to the well of someone in the Chicago Bear family. And I was just talking to some people the other day, some of my clients here at the ranch, and talking about the Bears. And I said, you know what? I'd love to see him hire Mike Singletary.
Yeah.
As the head coach, and I think he did a great job in straightening the ship out in
San Francisco
before.
Sure. Yeah, he really set it up.
And didn't really receive as much credit as he should have, I think, for getting that team going in the right direction. I think he could do the same for the Bears.
I think that would make a lot. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Pretty good coach.
Yeah, I think Mike Singletary would make a lot of sense there.
Yeah. So I mean, it worked before. I mean, the old man Hallis went and got Ditka and kind of hired within the organization kind of thing, and so who knows?
Who knows?
History could repeat itself.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, thank you so much for taking time with us tonight, and we look forward to chatting with you again down the line.
Okay, have a good evening, guys.
Thanks, Tim. That's Tim Wrightman of the Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears of 1985. Played tight end. We want to thank him for jumping on. By the way, real quickly, speaking of football.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter with about 3.5 left to go.
Right.
Chiefs 20, Raiders 17.
Oh, my goodness, they came back.
The Chiefs have come back in the game. So with that...
Got Bob standing by.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go to our break, and then when we come back on the other side, Bob Kendrick, who is the president of the Negro Leagues, will be joining us. He's already on the line, so hang in there. We'll be right back right after this. All right, welcome back to Vegas Unwrapped, a very special part of Vegas Unwrapped, the second hour. It's we appreciate you listening. Aaron Phillips, Ricky Cash, Bobcat on the board, and joining us now is Bob Kendrick, president of Negro Leagues. How are you, Bob? Aaron Phillips, Ricky Cash.
Hey guys, what's up? How you guys doing?
We're doing very well. Thank you for asking. In beautifully non-snowy Las Vegas. Where are you calling in from tonight? I think I know, but I just want to be sure.
Calling in from not snowing, but not quite as beautiful as Las Vegas, Kansas City.
Kansas City. Oh, your Chiefs are they're making a nice comeback tonight.
They made a nice comeback. The Raiders are driving, trying to getting touchdown.
You're holding on the edge of your seat, aren't you?
So as a baseball fan, you have a little interest in football as well. Is that right?
Well, I think sports fan in general, and obviously you root for the home team, whether it's football, baseball, soccer, what have you. It's just a lot of hometown loyalty, as it is in most cities.
Sure.
We don't have that. We have a problem out here because we don't have a team.
Right.
Most of the fans are California-based, so it's the Chargers or the Raiders or Denver, but or the Arizona teams. But getting back to what you're doing with the Negro League, give us a little rundown of what's been your history in association with them.
Well, I started as a volunteer with the organization going back to 1993. The museum was in its infancy at that time. The museum itself was established in 1990 in Kansas City. Guys, right around the corner from where the old Paseo YMCA, which is the birthplace of the Negro Leagues. That's where the leagues were formed in Kansas City in 1920. And so it was only fitting that a museum dedicated to this subject matter would be right in Kansas City, in the exact same area in which that gave birth to the story that we now are in charge of preserving. And so my involvement goes back to 1993 as a volunteer, and then in 1998 became the museum's first director of marketing, and held that position for about 12 years, left for about 13 months, and then came back in 2011 to become president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum. So it's been a tremendous ride and a tremendous journey, watching our museum grow and now having a hand in shaping the future direction of our organization.
Bob, before we continue, we do have a couple other callers that are on the line right now. If I could just ask those other callers to mute their phones until we're ready for you. We're getting some feedback from those other calls. We appreciate it. Now, I understand, Bob, that there is some activity or something that is being worked on with President Obama to recognize the Negro Leagues coming up in a couple of weeks. Is that correct?
Well, he earlier this summer, he invited Negro League players over to the White House, and what a tremendous honor.
Oh, sure.
These legendary athletes who face tremendous social adversity to go on to play baseball and to help change our country for the better, they, in many ways, toiled in anonymity in terms of their historical significance. And so for the president to recognize them in that manner was quite significant. As you can well imagine, there were so many of them, fortunately, that were able to be there in the White House. And it's not a lot of those guys still left.
Right.
And so for them to get that opportunity, considering all the challenges that they faced in their lifetime, and then to be recognized by the president of our great country, was quite significant for those guys. And it certainly was a historic occasion, and meant a great deal to all of us who were involved with Negro Leagues and Negro Leagues history.
Now, Bob, you're also involved with the Negro League Baseball Museum down there. Is that correct?
Yes, I am president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
Talk about that, and what is the differentiation between the Negro League Museum and, quite frankly, Cooperstown, which should be incorporating everybody?
Well, and we felt the same way and still feel the same way, and the Hall of Fame has done a wonderful job of recognizing those who have contributed greatly to the game of baseball. And so when the late Buck O'Neill was approached about doing a tribute to the Negro Leagues, the initial idea was to do a Negro Leagues Hall of Fame. And Buck was just so adamant about the fact that there had been enough separation in baseball, and if you were good enough, you should be enshrined in the National Baseball Hall of Fame at Cooperstown, and that is what started to happen. So Negro League players are actually honored there in the National Baseball Hall of Fame, those who were above and beyond the rest. So, when we talk about guys like Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson, Cool Papa Bell, and those guys are all enshrined in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Our job was to become a museum to tell the story, to preserve the story, to celebrate it, to educate the public about the history. And so it was more important than us than creating a pseudo Hall of Fame when you knew you were dealing with a finite piece of history. In the not-so-distant future, there are not going to be any Negro League players left. And so our job is to advocate on behalf of those so that they are recognized by the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And so, to the Hall's credit, they began recognizing the contributions of Negro League players going all the way back to 1971, with Satchel Paige being the first from the Negro Leagues to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Now, one thing, and I'll share this because we only have about a minute or so left, is that the museum is a 501c3 non-for-profit organization which incorporated back in 1990. So, of course, you're always looking for financial support to maintain the museum, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And for those who are so inclined, and we would love to have you be a part of our team to help us shape this history and make sure that this history lives on long after these men are gone, you can just simply log on to www.nlbm.com to have an opportunity to support our museum. And like I said, it is a tremendous museum, and so we would absolutely appreciate the support.
This is Ricky, Bob. I've got to put you on the spot, and because that's because I love to do this kind of thing. Give me your number one Negro baseball player of all time.
Well, if we're talking Negro League specifically,
Yes, we are.
I have to lean toward Josh Gibson.
Josh Gibbs.
Josh Gibson was an amazing guy. Josh Gibson, who many people call the Black Babe Ruth, but there are actually others who saw Gibson play who call Ruth the White Josh Gibson.
Yeah, really. I've heard that as well. Now, they did meet, didn't they?
You know, they Gibson comes along in the 30s and 40s. So, you know, it's around that time when Ruth's career is pretty much over by that time. But, you know, Gibson was incredible. In 1936, the man hit 84 home runs in a single season. He had strings of 75, 71, 69 in single seasons. Still believed to be the only man to hit a ball completely out of Yankee Stadium. He hit a ball in the Polo Grounds that they estimated to travel over 600 feet. But not just a great power hitter, a great hitter. Lifetime batting average of 354, and in head-to-head competition against major leaguers hit over 400. But you know what makes it even more remarkable? He was doing it as a catcher.
As a catcher, I knew that.
Don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
You're lucky now if catchers hit 240 and get double-digit home runs.
Yeah, because it's just so physically.
Oh, sure.
That position beats your body up.
Absolutely.
And Gibson caught his entire 18 seasons in the Negro Leagues. And, guys, he wasn't a good catcher. He was a great catcher.
Sure.
I was tweeting something out yesterday because yesterday was would have been the 93rd birthday of Roy Campanella, who came out of the Negro Leagues and, of course, had that wonderful major league career.
Right.
Campy, Gibson, Biz Mackey, these guys were great catchers in the Negro Leagues. But, you know, Gibson just kind of set the standard. Everywhere he played, his teams won.
Bob, I wish we had more time. I'll tell you what, we could talk about this till the cows come home, and I hope we can do it again because you know what, we're just fascinated with the history of baseball, and I can speak for Cash on that level as well. Thank you so much for taking time with us tonight and spending a few minutes sharing what you do with the Negro League Association as well as the museum. Folks listening, please go on to NLBM.com and help support this because this is history we're talking about, and a point that, Bob, you made is that this is a finite period of history because you know the participants pretty much are it's over. It's over almost. They're ingratiated in the museum, and that's going to be it. Bob, thank you so much for checking in with us. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you along the line.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Bob. We appreciate it. Now joining us is Mr. Bart Zeller, someone that we've had the pleasure of interviewing before. Bart, are you there? Bart? All right. We'll try to get Bart back, hopefully. Maybe he's on one of the other lines. Okay, we'll wait for Bart to call back in. We appreciate it. What great history that was about the Negro League and everything, wasn't it?
It's absolutely amazing, and you know what? It's such an important part of the history of baseball, which you and I love. And you know, for us, we could do that forever.
All right, we have Bart Zeller back on the line, someone we've had an opportunity to interview and meet in the past. Bart, how are you, sir?
Aaron, I'm doing just wonderful. How are you?
I'll tell you what, since I'm not in Buffalo, I'm doing terrific.
Well, I'm sitting down in Fort Myers, Florida.
Oh, that's not bad either.
The home of the one of the senior men's baseball World Series, and we're getting ready for the playoffs tomorrow. So it's kind of an exciting time for about 3,000-4,000 guys that are out here still trying to play the game of baseball.
And what's the age range of the participants?
You know what? They start at 35, and they go up, and we're playing in the 60 and over, championships tomorrow. So, it's just fascinating to see men who have a passion for the game of baseball and the commitment, and they get themselves in shape, and they work hard, and they come out here and play, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful event.
Cash and I threw out the first pitch this year. So we did for the Las Vegas 51s, which is, of course, the Mets AAA affiliate now. And I just turned 50, and Cash is older than God. And we barely reached the catcher. I think I got him in one hop, and Cash's ball got green stains on his.
My ball is still rolling.
It's still rolling the whole plate. My gosh.
Hey, Bart, quick question. It's Ricky. First of all, great to talk to you again. Are there any former major leaguers in that over 60 group?
Gee, did I pitch that one to you underhand? There's a pitcher in the Mets organization that pitched in the big leagues called Ed Figueroa.
Oh, Figgy.
So he's out here. Vernon Wells, whose son plays in the big leagues. But the most fascinating guy is Bill Spaceman Lee, who pitches out here, and he pitched in Arizona in the World Series. So, you know, when they get around the dugouts, these guys just love to listen to their stories, and plus the fact these guys just love to play the game themselves. Even though they played in the big leagues at the highest level, they still love to play.
Yeah, well, if you were here in studio with us right now and you mentioned the spaceman's name, you should have seen Cash and I's face. Our chins dropped to the floor.
Wow. I can't tell you how much I would pay to sit in the dugout and listen to those stories.
Well, you're right, and we have a treat because I've known Bill now probably 7 to 10 years, and we play together on the same teams and go out afterwards and have dinner, and we may even have a beer, but it's not against training. But the stories he tells are fascinating. They wrote books about him, and he's just a fascinating guy. And
wow.
He just loves to talk to the younger guys and the guys that just playing out here. So that's fascinating. So what are you guys doing?
Well, we're still
trying to talk to you guys. Thanks to Aimmee.
That's right. We're still doing our thing. We've been on the air. It'll be 6 years come March, and
congratulations.
Thank you. And we're just expanding our horizons. And we connected again with Aimmee and Joe and their team. And you know what? We're just hoping and looking forward to bigger and better things with that team.
If I can give a plug, and she doesn't need it, for Aimmee, I must say that I have seen over the last 2.5 years her dedication, commitment to the Negro League and the impact on Major League Baseball documentary that she's doing for PBS.
Right.
It's just, it's a level of love that she has for the game and wants to bring the old-time baseball back and wants people to see the impact of the Negro League and the Major League. So, when this thing comes out, I hope it's really going to be a success because she sure deserves it. She's worked really hard for it.
No question.
Yeah, and we appreciate it as well. Aaron and I love sports, but if somebody were to pin us into a corner, it's baseball all the way because that's what we grew up with. That's what our parents grew up with, and it just, it's something of a generational thing, right? And
yeah, absolutely.
We always hope out here in Las Vegas that we could get, some sort of major league team with whatever sport. Do you get out here often?
You know what? I live in Scottsdale. I finally got the sense after a number of years to get out of Chicago. I got tired of shoveling that snow, and I read about all these stories about 6 feet of snow, and I say, wow. Just how happy I am that I don't have to worry about that anymore.
You say just in time.
Do you say that on July 10th?
I say that in July 10th. I say that in August because you know what? I would rather fight the heat than I would the cold any day.
Me too. That's right. So where are you managing now during the regular season time frame?
Well, right now, in fact, last year I was at Washington, Pennsylvania in the Frontier League.
Right.
I had a little bit of a health issue where I was forced to resign midway through, and we were in first place.
Wow.
I was getting ready to take the team into the All-Star break and then manage the All-Star team. But the health issue has come and gone, and everything seems to be back on track. So I'm now kind of on the market looking to find a home. And if it was a coaching job in independent baseball, I'd be more than happy to do that.
He's looking for Giancarlo Stanton money to manage. That's why he's a free agent now.
I read that little blurb where he says that was one of the tough decisions I ever made.
Yeah, really. 13 years for 325. Okay.
Yeah, I liked it. So next time you come to Vegas, I hope we'll get a chance to have you in studio so we can really do a couple of reminiscing hours.
I would love it. I would really love it, and I'll make sure I do that for you guys.
All right, Bart, listen, buddy, go enjoy your margarita. We know it's 3 hours difference between here and there.
He's in
that's right, Florida. He's in Florida.
Yeah, right.
And, tell the spaceman a couple of fans are here in Vegas rooting for him.
I'll do that, guys. Thanks a lot. And if I can get him to sign a baseball, I'll make sure I bring one back for you.
God bless
now
you.
You're talking. All right.
Well, he knows how to brown-nose the host, doesn't he?
Take care and good luck on the rest of the show.
Thanks, Bart. Appreciate it, buddy. Bart Zeller, good friend of the show's. And our next guest is currently on the line. So rather than go to a break, let's just go right to it. Welcome to the show. A gentleman who I actually had the opportunity to say hello to yesterday on the phone, all the way from Arizona, Phoenix. Right. One of the closest guests we've had tonight. Joe Sperle's on the line. Joe, Welcome to Vegas Unwrapped. Aaron Phillips, Ricky Cash coming at you.
Hi, how you guys doing?
We're
Thanks for having me on.
doing very well. Thank you for making time with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Definitely our pleasure.
So I was looking you up online, and the big thing for you is the last couple of years you've developed this new Freedom Pro Baseball League. Why don't you share a little bit about that, if you would?
Yeah, we had started in 2012. It's Freedom Professional Baseball Independent League in Arizona. With teams, we play at the spring training facilities after the major league teams leave, and we just saw years of doing pitching and hitting lessons here in Arizona that there was a need for a lot of players that were also released in the minor leagues to have another opportunity to continue to play professionally.
This is Ricky. I was mentioning to Aaron earlier today that I've noticed over the past, 5 to 10 years, a tremendous rise in the number of independent leagues throughout the country. Have you seen the same thing as well?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the major league teams, we've got great relationships with a lot of the teams, Arizona Diamondbacks here, the San Francisco Giants, that really see that there is a need for leagues, independent leagues, that they can have players, they can come watch, or they will call us and say, we'd like to have our player get some more plate appearances or innings in pitching, and would you be willing to take him, and we'll watch him, and if he does well, we'd like to buy his contract back. So I think that we're seeing more and more of the major league teams just don't have the time and the coaching to be able to develop these guys, and I think that there's more and more guys, as we see, that are going on to the major leagues. We've had quite a few guys that have had the opportunity to move on to major league teams with the Giants and Diamondbacks and Phillies now.
How many teams are in the league now, Joe?
We have 4 teams going, and we're hoping in 2-3 years to expand to 8.
Okay.
And how long is your season? When is it played?
We go June, July, August, and early Labor Day.
The cool time of year in Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. We play all night games.
No kidding.
In the northern part of Arizona, we play day games on the weekends because it's cooler up in northern Arizona.
And they do that here in Vegas with the 51s. They play as many night games as they can and early day games when they can to avoid the heat issues.
Up there, that's a great park up there. Mm-hmm.
One of the questions I was thinking about, knowing we were going to talk to you tonight, is I know that you get obviously the young players that are still trying to get into the league and things like that. How many of the older players that have pretty much ended their career but still want to play, about how many of them are represented in the league?
Well, in 2012, we had more of them. There was a lot of guys that had some major league experience and had some AAA and AA with affiliated ball, probably 20%. We've decided now that we really want, when talking with major league teams, that they're more interested in guys that are just out of college or have played a year or two in the minor league. So I would say probably 98% of them in 2015 will be guys that are in their early 20s, early to mid 20s.
Well, it makes sense, and from a developmental point of view.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we'd like to get them right out of college. Now that the draft has been released down to 40 rounds, there's 300 less players being drafted every year. So I think that there's a lot of guys we found that really just need an opportunity to be developed and coached and show their ability.
Do you have plans to expand, not just, let's say, in Arizona, but some of the other western states that don't have independent leagues, like Nevada? I mean, that's close enough, and certainly I don't know if we have really the great facility for it, but I'm sure there would be great interest there, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I think it's something that we're open to looking at. I think I know that's a big baseball area. I talked to Aaron yesterday. He was excited for the Mountain Ridge Little League. What a great thing for baseball there. And I know from doing pitching and hitting lessons with a lot of the kids. Before I started the Freedom League, I went to a lot of the All-Star games, and I was in San Bernardino when Hawaii beat North Scottsdale Little League, where I had trained 10 of those 13 boys since they were 9. And
that was a tough one for you.
So that's going to really boom baseball in that city, and I think that we'd be open to looking at something up there and continue in Southern California also.
Well, maybe we'll have the Vegas Unwrapped
There we go.
Slot machines or something.
Yeah, the slot machines that they can hit the big home run.
There you go. See, we've got the marketing already down.
So do you get up to Vegas at all?
Yeah, I was up a few weeks ago at the Rio at a sports psychology conference. We're doing more working with sports psychologists in developing and selecting players to really kind of find more about them. So it was exciting. I was up there, and it was a 3-day conference at the Rio that I enjoyed. I always like to get up there when I can. I was trying to hook up with some of those Mountain Ridge Little League guys. I know they do a big fall baseball to kind of go out and watch them play a little bit, and I like to follow them when they're about that age, because I'm sure they've got some talented boys that are going to go on to high school and need some opportunities to continue to play.
Well, they certainly changed the landscape of young men baseball here in town. I mean, they were just overwhelmingly supported by every aspect of this city, and it was a joy to watch it.
Yeah, that's great. That will change those boys' lives forever. I think that people are really seeing, and I heard you talk how big baseball has been in the family, passed on traditions, and it's a time when fathers can play catch with their sons, and seeing that Little League, largest youth organization in the country, of how much that has grown, and that's where it all started for me, playing in those Little League All-Star tournaments, and now just watching these guys develop and having a chance to sign their first pro contract in the first year in 2012. I wish I had a video of sitting down at Scottsdale Stadium and signing 88 players, with which about 50 of them was their first pro contract. The look on their face of where they had been trying to, for years, get a pro contract. So that was one of the exciting parts that we'd like to get working on a documentary.
Joe, one final question for me before we wrap up. If you were the Major League Baseball commissioner today, what would you do to help speed up today's Major League Baseball games?
That's a great question. We've talked about that. Gil Patterson is the director of pitching with the Yankees. He was just here for the Arizona Fall League, and they had some meetings on that. I think you don't want to take a lot of the history of the game out and the pitching, of the time of the warm-up. They're trying to do that. I think maybe some of the visits to the mound, it's, for me, it would be a hard thing, because I'm an old school guy, and I really think that, you got to let the games play out, and just, it's one of the only games that doesn't have a time clock in baseball. I think there's been too much put into that, but just off the top of my head, I really couldn't think of something.
To me, one area that would seem to save time, when I played softball, if you wanted to intentionally walk somebody, you just told the umpire, and the batter would go to first. They wouldn't throw four pitches. It would seem to me that intentional walks, I mean, granted, pitcher, I've seen it, we've all seen it, where a pitcher throws a wild pitch on a intentional walk, but it's rare. I mean, that would seem to be, if you want to intentionally walk somebody, just tell the ump and let the guy go down there. That'll save you a couple of minutes, I mean, I would think.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good point. There's no sense in throwing four pitches to him. Just point over to first and go down.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot here, okay? Old school, you brought it up, so now you stepped into my question. Designated hitter or not?
No, I love pitchers got to hit, because it puts more pressure on the managers for decisions making, and being a pitcher, I used to always enjoy of when I could come to the plate, because when you're battling in a pitching duel, and the other guy's pitching well, and it's 0-0 or 2-2, and you can come to the plate and have a chance to help yourself in the 6th, 7th inning and hit a ball, in a gap and get a big hit. I think that really fires up the team. So me being a pitcher that could hit, I think it's the old school as way as the pitcher needs to hit.
I love it. You'll get no argument from me. And we got a Jake DeGrom, Rookie of the Year, who can hit as well as he can pitch.
Exactly. They are athletes. Pitchers are athletes, and they can hit. There is some of them that can hit.
Wow, you see, we'll have to debate that the next time you're here, because there's not enough time left in our show for me to give you the other side.
Aaron and I have been debating that for 18 years.
Joe, listen, we want to thank you for taking time with us tonight out of your busy schedule, and let us know what's going on. Keep in touch, and
come up to Vegas. Come on to
Vegas. Show. Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have you in the studio.
Okay, sure will, guys. Enjoyed it.
Thank you,
Take
Joe.
Care, and I root for those Mountain Ridge guys. I'm going to follow some of those guys, because I'm sure there's going to be some talented guys come out of that group.
No doubt. All right, Joe. Thank you much.
Great. Talk to you.
Happy holidays. Joe Sperle joining us. He is the founder and minority owner.
Do we still
Freedom Professional?
Do we still have Aimmee out there?
Baseball League. Is Aimmee still on hold?
Yeah, let's put her
Aimmee,
on.
are you still there?
I am. Of
Hi,
course.
there's Aimmee Williams. How are you?
I wouldn't miss that for the world.
I know you usually don't like to do the interview stuff, but since you were still on the phone, we figured we'd grab you before we let you go.
I'm stalking you guys.
That's okay. Hey, at least we know who it is now.
Hey, right.
So we want to thank you
that
for.
was fun.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. All of the spots with these guys were tremendous. We think, and looking forward to listening to the playback on archive and on our YouTube video. Want to thank you so much for you and Joe Kraus for lining them up for us tonight, and it was fun talking to these guys.
Yeah, and thanks to Mike for putting up with me. He's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Can I just please listen?" I'm getting reception here on my computer, so I'm like, I have to hear my people.
Yeah, you always help us in bringing on some really interesting people. And of course with. Aaron, my proclivity towards baseball, that you could just keep us going as you did for 4 hours about 2.5 years ago.
Oh my God, was it 4 hours?
It was a 4-hour show. We keep talking about that, like, how did we ever get through that?
But see, I had to cancel people for you guys tonight. I mean,
Well, it'll just
big
mean
time, guys.
It'll just mean we'll have to get sponsors for a new sports show.
Yep, because we already have the name. We already have the name. We're waiting for it. So we look forward to much good stuff together, Aimmee.
I think it's fun. You guys did a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Hope
very
to see you soon.
You bet. Are you coming up here soon?
It's possible.
All right.
Rumor has it that you were going to be here before the New Year's.
Well, that's a rumor. Do you believe everything you hear?
With the president coming into town, I respectively cannot confirm nor deny that rumor.
That's so funny.
All right,
I would,
kiddo.
of course, call you guys if I was going to be
Absolutely.
here. You know that.
I think we need to catch up with you here in Vegas soon.
I agree.
Yep.
All right.
The future beckons.
Aimmee, I got to pay a couple of bills since we blasted through a couple of breaks here, and before we wrap up.
Okay, no worries. We'll talk soon.
We'll talk again later. Thank you, dear.
All right.
See you, Aimmee.
Bye,
All right. Vegas, that's Aimmee Williams. She is part of the team that we were mentioning earlier that we're now working with. All right, we're going to pay some bills, and by the time we come back, we'll only have a few minutes left of the show.
We'll do some wrapping up. And
Vegas Unwrapped, Phillips and Cash. Thank you for hanging in there. We'll be right back.
Yeah, welcome back to this. What did he call it?
What's that?
What did he just call this?
The shit?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
Do I have to put up with this?
Well, he's only got to put up with JPEG.
Yeah, well,
he loves us.
yeah, well,
he loves
sure.
me. I don't know if he loves you.
No, I've noticed that there's been almost like an undertone of
and I don't know why, 'cause
negativity.
He beat you, and you got an.
And I gave him the shake. I mean, I paid up my dues and my debt. Right?
I'm fine.
You better be. Box car.
Now listen. All right, listen. We got to do something serious here.
Okay.
Serially, because we didn't do celebrity birthdays.
No.
But we do have to acknowledge someone who's a big supporter of Vegas Unwrapped when we're out in the field. You'll see her on many of our YouTube channels from the Sandy Castell and Friends music stuff that they were doing over the last couple of months. Want to send a shout out birthday to Ms. Gigi Ullman, who's celebrating
Gigi.
birthday today.
Yes, today.
But there'll be a function because she's also a member of the Red Hat Society.
Yeah, I know about them.
Yes.
You made me look it up.
And what do you get with them?
You get red hats.
Red
and purple blouses.
Right, and that's for 50 and over.
50 and over.
And if you're younger than 50?
You get a turquoise blouse and a pink hat.
That's right.
How do you like that? I remembered it.
He actually did his homework.
Yeah, I remembered it.
Wow, that's good. You can't remember what you did 5 minutes ago.
So we're going to go to a birthday party event for them on this coming Saturday.
Right, at the at Sandy Castell's place. She's got a band. Gigi hired the 4-piece band, the Dick Castell 4-piece band.
Right, and we'll be doing our usual interviewing stuff.
Yep. And Chef Michael will be providing the food. And
I hope Perko's going to be providing the desserts.
I'm sure.
Did you see that apple thing on the Sandy Castell show this morning?
Again, I'm not a fruit and vegetable guy.
I know, but that fruit cake was amazing. I mean, really. We're talking about the Sandy Castell show, which Aaron and I will be part of starting next Thursday.
That's right. And check the Vegas Unwrapped fan page for times and dates and the channels. We're going to be on local Cox Cable. It's going to be my LV TV and
think it's
Dish
Channel
and
12
Direct
or whatever.
We'll put all the channels out there on our fan. By the way, we're only 4 fans away from 1610, so please go out there to our Vegas Unwrapped Facebook fan page. We're getting there. And don't forget about the what? The Ricky Cash Fan Club.
Boy, you know, we just gone over another milestone in the number of fans out there, and we're very excited about this because it's working.
It's got to keep going because this is the time of year that people are going to be in need. Next week is Thanksgiving. We want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We will not be live in studio. Unfortunately, that means Bobcat will have to be here replaying a show for us, or somebody will have to. We're gonna pick a show and just re-air it. Probably last week's show, which was pretty.
I like
pretty
the
gnarly.
Queen's Vault show.
Yeah, with the girls. But we'll figure out a show to rerun. Have a great Thanksgiving,
and be safe and be happy.
Right.
And don't eat too much turkey because you're just gonna fall asleep.
And you're gonna nap.
Yeah, that we do anyway.
Right, we do that. When the tryptophan kicks in, you're really in trouble. All right, what a slew of guests tonight. Author Karen Ryce, Parenting for the New Millennium. We want to thank her for jumping on. Aimmee Kodachian, Tears of Hope, author as well as mentor to Stephanie Thompson, who's doing an event this Saturday at the Sienna's Sunday, from 5:30 to 8 at Sienna's Authentic Trattoria. And, of course, all the guests we interviewed. Bobcat, good job with the phones, everybody. Have a great week, everybody. Why?
Be happy. We're all we have.
Right, what he said.
Yeah.